What a busy day we've had. I think now it's just enough time for a lovely bedtime story. So snuggle down underneath those covers, keep warm, and I'm going to read you a story that I've written called Nanny's Puzzle. You ready? Ella and Ollie had just finished their lunch when their dad told them that they would be going to visit Nanny Lynn that afternoon. Ella was so excited. She loved to see Nanny Lynn, and it was only a short ride in the car to Nanny Lynn's house. Ella particularly liked her biscuit tin, as it not only had a picture of a beautiful dancing panda bear on the front, but it also contained the most gorgeous homemade chocolate cookies. Ella began to put on her shoes and find her coat, but she noticed Ollie still looking at a puzzle he'd been doing that morning. Ella asked him why he wasn't getting ready to go out, and Ollie replied that he was in the middle of a jigsaw puzzle that he had started earlier on in the day. He had just found two more pieces that fitted round the edges. He was so excited, and the picture was becoming much clearer. Ella looked down at the tray where Ollie had assembled all the pieces. She could see a beautiful farmyard, but there were small areas missing. There were two legs which looked like they belonged to a horse, a bucket that had a part missing, a scarecrow's head, and half a barn door. Ollie was so good at puzzles, so she could understand why Ollie wanted to finish it. Just then, Dad came in, carrying Ollie's shoes in one hand and coat in the other. Ollie moaned a little and dragged himself away from his half-finished masterpiece. A little later, Dad was parking the car outside Nanny Lynn's. Ella raced to the front door to be welcomed by her nanny, who was wearing a brightly coloured flowered apron. There was a lovely smell coming from her kitchen, so both children knew there would be something very tasty waiting for them. Quickly, they raced past Nanny to find warm cookies on the table, cooling off after being taken out of the hot oven. A few minutes later, both Ella and Ollie were silently enjoying some chocolate and almond cookies with some warm milk. Ollie was first to finish, and he had developed two red, rosy cheeks where his afternoon snack had warmed him up. As he put his plate back in the kitchen, he noticed a small pile of misshapen tiles next to the kettle. Nanny Lynn entered the kitchen and saw Ollie looking quizzically at the pile. Nanny explained that it was her favourite plate that belonged to her nanny, and sadly she had dropped it on the floor when making breakfast. Oh, she couldn't bear to even throw it away, but the tiny pieces, well, they'd be no use to her at all. Ollie began to get excited. If you remember, he loves puzzles. It might be a bit of a challenge, but Ollie was prepared to have a go at piecing the tiny fragments together. He placed all the pieces on a large tray so he could see them all. First of all, he used the pieces with smooth edges, then the ones with patterns on. Lastly, he added the smallest of them all. He had finished. There in front of him was the plate that Nanny had always loved. The only thing she needed to do now was to use a very special glue to stick every piece together. Once she had done that, the plate was left to dry for a few hours. Ella, Dad, and Nanny Lynn were so impressed with Ollie's work that Nanny let him take a few extra cookies home. Ollie had done a really good job that day, and Nanny was so happy. Now, if anyone has a puzzle on their hands, it's Ollie they call. I hope you enjoyed that story. Now, snuggle down, close your eyes, and sleep well.